And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. Kind of a brief overview of the last couple of weeks as I was preempted for high school baseball, an abbreviated show this week because of Phillies baseball, which we've got Phillies on deck coming up in a little over 10 minutes. Of course, the Phillies and the Nationals down in Washington, D.C. Looking back at things here, a little quick note in today in wrestling history. A couple of different things, all pretty much from Monday night eras. Head-to-head in 1997. Monday Night Raw from Green Bay, Wisconsin. You had the main event of Steve Austin pinning the British Bulldog. And over on Nitro from Lakeland, Florida, you had Diamond Dallas Page and the Giant defeating Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. That all happening on this date, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Looking back 15 years ago. Wow, where has the time gone? Anyway, some other bits and pieces. Oh, yeah, how can I forget before I get too far into things? Next Saturday, a lot going on. Since I wanted to get into it this week, but given our time constraints, I couldn't. The other notable thing from 10 years ago today is when the World Wrestling Federation became World Wrestling Entertainment. They started the infamous advertising campaign of World Wrestling Entertainment, get the F out. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at how things have changed over the course of the last 10 years, looking back from the end of the World Wrestling Federation and where we are now, not even with World Wrestling Entertainment anymore, but just the letters WWE. They've even tried to cut out World Wrestling Entertainment over the course of the last few years. But on top of all that, while we're discussing all that going on next Saturday, we're back on noon to 1, as we have been. Following the show from 1 to 3, right down the road here at George's Cards and Collectibles on New Falls Road in Levittown, the Hall of Famer, the one, the only $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. He'll be there for autographs, pictures. Everybody's got a price, and I believe the price is $25 to meet the $1 Million Man. Must be falling on hard. He's still doing all right there. He had a little bit of a health scare a little while back, and he also, I know, has a book out and has for a little while, I believe, an autobiography. I read it. It's a really great book. I'll see if I can talk to him a little bit about that, see if I can get a word from him. But, yeah, check him out. George's Cards and Collectibles right over on New Falls Road, just by Bucks County Tech High School over there, the original George's Cards and Collectibles location. And that's next Saturday, the 12th, from 1 until 3, none other than the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Of course, looking back at Extreme Rules, well, we had a couple of bonus matches on there, but as far as the matches I actually threw out predictions for, Santino retained the U.S. title against The Miz, Randy Orton beating Kane in the Falls Count Anywhere match, Cody Rhodes winning the Intercontinental Championship in a, for older fans, it's essentially a spin the wheel, make the deal type match where or Raw Roulette, except it was on a pay-per-view, maybe Extreme Roulette or Extreme Rules Roulette, however you want to look at it. But a tables match was what was determined, and that's how Cody Rhodes won the Intercontinental title back. Sheamus retained the World Championship in a best 2 out of 3 falls match against Daniel Bryan. CM Punk beating Chris Jericho to retain the WWE Championship. And Layla making a return appearance, being out almost a year, filling in for an injured Beth Phoenix, pinning Nikki Bella to win the WWE Divas Championship. And to the surprise of a lot, John Cena pinning Brock Lesnar, despite Cena getting pretty much dominated throughout the match. That was the only one I didn't get right. I got all the rest right as far as my predictions. And if you didn't see them, check out the YouTube page. You can check out the Facebook page. I've got it posted on there as well. Let's go ahead and get back to the phones. We've got about 6.5 minmes. Let's go ahead and squeeze Dan in here. Dan, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
What's up, Ron? I'll keep it quick, obviously. 3 things. Is Sting still under contract with TNA?
As far as I know, yes.
Because, I don't know, well, you know what I'm getting at. His profile was all over the place on WWE.com. I was wondering what you know about that.
I don't have anything. I mean, it could be that his contract's coming up, and it could be another attempt to kind of woo him over, but I don't know. I still wonder at this point, what does WWE have to gain from a 51, 52-year-old Sting? I mean, as far as wrestling, I mean, what are they going to bring him in to put over Jack Swagger?
Undertaker Sting Mania.
No, I think the ship has kind of sailed on that. Okay. I mean, I know people are going to try to revisit it for WrestleMania 29, but it's like, hey, we know you've never wrestled for us before, but you're going to go against our number one guy for the last 23 years. Oh, and by the way, you're going to wrestle out in the freezing cold in North Jersey in early April. Yeah,
I don't even think Taker will even maybe skip that Mania, maybe, huh?
Yeah, that's something. I was going to say that's something that probably. Something you don't even really think of is, I mean, for some of the veteran wrestlers, especially getting slammed as much as they are, what kind of effect does the weather have? I mean, we're looking obviously, well in advance as we're, 11 months away from WrestleMania, but still, North Jersey, I mean, even here in Philadelphia, it's kind of chilly in April. We've even gotten snow on some occasions, and I know I shouldn't be complaining to a Chicagoan about cold weather, but... But, I mean, I'm just saying as far as what the wrestlers are used to. Going out there and taking body slams in a warm arena is a little different from an outdoor venue.
Yeah, I don't know what Vince was thinking about having it in New York like that. I mean, having it in New York is fine, but why outdoor like that? It's kind of stupid.
Ticket sales, because he knows he can make more money selling 60, 70,000 seats in a football arena as opposed to cramming 18, 19,000 in Madison Square Garden. As much as he wants to go back there, he is leaving a lot of money on the table by reducing the capacity from 70,000 to 18,000.
Yeah. And I want to talk about Raw a little bit in the beginning of Raw. I like the whole Lesnar Triple H angle, but it was funny. I don't know if you noticed Triple H walking to the ring. He was sort of fidgeting with his arm a bit when he walked to the ring.
He was fidgeting with it. Maybe he was just making sure it stayed loose for the Kimura. Is that kind of where you're going with it? Yeah, it was
really weird. Like, I kind of noticed that last night. I kind of rewatched it again on YouTube, and he did something to his arm, like you said, loosened it up just for a second, and then he got in the ring. It was really weird. What irritates me about that situation? It was an awesome situation, but. You hear them on the headset, okay, saying that, we just got word that Lesnar is told to leave the arena. And the old Attitude Era, they would have showed him being escorted out of the arena. Why not continue the storyline? Because after that incident, he left. You know what I mean? He was there for 10 minutes and left. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he did his thing and took off. Why not show him getting escorted out of the building? Why can't they do that? But it made it more believable.
Yeah. Well, I guess considering Lesnar's character, I figure that if they had people trying to escort him out of the building, if they just say he was escorted out as opposed to, I mean, you saw him just take out Triple H. Yeah. He can handle these considerably smaller security guys.
Yeah.
So
it would cool, though. It would still have been a cool moment to see, I think.
It would, but I think they were trying to avoid the suspending of disbelief that, all right, if Brock Lesnar could handle Triple H with ease and John Cena with ease, how is he being held at bay by these security guys? Yeah. So I guess they figure rather than give that visual and make people scratch their heads, they just kind of leave it off and say, all right, he's been escorted out of the building, and and have it go from there.
True. It would have been. I think it would have made better TV for me if they would have showed it. I don't know.
There's certainly there's validity to either side of that.
Right. And I guess this scratched my head big time last night. I guess Josh Matthews is okay.
Yeah, I know. They kind of glossed over that real quick. Well, he has all that hair gel to protect him. I think that's what it is.
Man. Wow, that made Brock Lesnar look like a punk as far as I'm concerned. That Matthews, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if this had happened 25 years ago to Mean Gene, there would have been a whole letters and cards and a whole thing. He would have been out for a couple of months. But Josh Matthews, he's back, perfectly coiffed hair and everything. Anyway, I got to run. Thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it, Dan, as always. I'll be back next week. I'll have a preview of TNA Sacrifice. We'll also, of course, look back at WWE 10 years later from changing over from the World Wrestling Federation. And then, of course, right after the show, join me over at George's Cards and Collectibles. Meet the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, from 1 until 3. That's going to do it for me. Thanks to Bill Melody, producing as always. And stay tuned for Phillies baseball here on 1490 WBCB. Phillies on deck coming up, and then the Phillies and the Nationals down at Washington, D.C. Be back next week.
This is your station for Phillies baseball and Eagles football on 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton.